In the previous episode, the members of the Defense Forces made preparations for retaliation for their defeat after the death of Isao Shinomiya at the hands of Kaiju number 9. While when Kokoru and Kafka have started training with Division 1 troops, at Tachikawa Base we have also seen the awakening of Kaiju number 10, who is currently a prisoner of Division 3 troops. But the surprise is that it turns out that Kaiju number 10 is even asking to be used as a weapon that can be used by Hoshina. Well, what will it be like? Watch this video until it's finished. The story continues by showing 3 members of the Central Operations Team who are talking about Hoshina, a representative of Division 3 who will come here. Hoshina's arrival is to convey new information from Kaiju number 10 regarding the Kaiju disaster mentioned by Kaiju number 9. But because it's been 3 years since Hoshina last came here, somehow they even have the feeling that Hoshina's arrival this time is likely to cause chaos. The scene moves to Kafka and Kokoru, who look surprised when they find out that Hoshina is coming. While Hasegawa explains the purpose of Hoshina coming here because he will participate in a strategy meeting to face Kaiju number 9. Kafka was seen brooding, thinking about himself, who had not had time to apologize to Hoshina for hiding his Kaiju identity. Hasegawa then asked where Narumi was now, but after Kokoru told him that Narumi had invited the unit members to go somewhere. Suddenly, Hasegawa immediately scratched his head while saying this was serious. Hasegawa explained that because Division 1 and Division 3 were both units assigned to the Tokyo area, then it often made them compared to each other. So, as a result, these 2 units often fought as if they were fighting for territory. And sure enough, just when Hoshina and his members had just arrived, it turned out that their arrival was immediately intercepted by the 1st Division troops led by Narumi. An annoyed Narumi then asked Hoshina, "Who gave you permission to enter my territory?" Then Hoshina casually replied, "I didn't expect Commander Narumi to come directly to welcome us. We have received permission from headquarters, namely the party with authority above the commander, so you don't have to worry about it." Narumi, who heard it, then said back to Hoshina, "Still can't, because only people with hairstyles like kappa and narrow eyes are prohibited from entering this base," and Hoshina falls into 2 categories. That is until when Hoshina asked Narumi, "Do you still have a grudge? Because I managed to break your record in the small Kaiju division extermination training." Suddenly Narumi was down because Hoshina's words were very sharp, like arrows piercing his ears. Seeing that, the incident of course had sparked a commotion among the other members as well. The 1st Division members brought up the issue last month about the 3rd Division troops who had arbitrarily carried out an extermination in their territory located in the Shinigami district without asking permission first. But because the 3rd Division members did not want to remain silent, then they replied by saying, "It happened because at that time there was a Kaiju companion who sneaked into the city of Mitaka, so they just chased it to be eliminated. Anyway, why do they think they have to ask permission for such a trivial thing to the 1st Division troops?" Narumi, who did not accept the insult, then asked all of him members to say out loud that the record that was broken by Hoshina earlier was only for the small Kaiju division. As for the others, all the records were still held by Narumi. But Hoshina also returned to Narumi by saying, "Isn't the record for the long-range shooting division still held by Mina?" Again, Narumi became even more down until he really hated Hoshina. Fortunately, Hasegawa immediately stopped Narumi's madness by hitting his head. In the end, the situation could be conducive again. Then they also went straight to the meeting room. Here it was seen that all the important members had attended the meeting both in person and virtually, in order to discuss strategies for dealing with Kaiju number 9. Among them are Narumi and Hasegawa, who lead Division 1, Jura Igarashi, who leads Division 2, Mina and Hoshina, who lead Division 3, then Yugo Ogata, who leads Division 4, while Keiji Itami, who is the new chief commander of the Defense Forces, as well as the leader of this meeting, has started his meeting by entering the main topic to be delivered by Hoshina. Here Hoshina also immediately told everyone that they from Division 3 had received new information about Kaiju number 9. Hoshina will start from his conclusion first, namely the disaster that Kaiju number 9 meant was not a problem that could be handled by one unit alone. This information he got from Kaiju number 10, who is currently in the custody of Division 3. Based on his confession, Kaiju number 10 was created by Kaiju number 9. Of course, this is a very surprising fact for everyone when knowing that Kaiju with a power scale of 9.0 turns out to be a creation of other Kaiju. Hoshina said, Kaiju number 9 is a new and first Kaiju in history who has his own goals. Even most likely, he also has the ability to create other Kaiju that are much stronger. In addition, after Hoshina heard the fact that Kaiju number 10 turned out to be just a prototype, and he wanted to try to fight against the perfect version of himself who was born after him. Hoshina also explained to everyone that currently the Japanese Defense Forces can only face a maximum of 5 numbered Kaiju at the same time. If among them there are special type Kaiju with powers above 9.5, then that number can be reduced. But if Kaiju number 9 can also create powerful Kaiju whose numbers far exceed that number. Of course, without cooperation that exceeds the limit between units, then surely this country will be destroyed. Ogata, who at that time was a little doubtful that there were Kaiju who could create new types of Kaiju, then he asked Hoshina, what if it turned out that Kaiju number 10 was lying? Then Hoshina answered, indeed, that possibility remains. But if we look at the data comparing the number of cases of the appearance of Kaiju with the increase in the appearance of new types of Kaiju in recent years, the average Kaiju power that appears each year has increased from 2.6 to 4.8. Of course, that information is consistent with this data, besides that, as we all know. In fact, there are still many things that we do not understand regarding the mechanism of Kaiju emergence. The current theory says that the emergence of Kaiju is caused by the phenomenon of earth cracks that produce energy or distortions of great power that affect materials as well as animals and plants in the ground. So, if it relates to this theory, Kaiju number 9 has a connection with this phenomenon, then he created Kaiju for a specific purpose. Hasegawa, who heard this, asked Hoshina, what about the information regarding the existence of Kaiju number 9? Hoshina replied, as for his current whereabouts, it is still unknown, because Kaiju number 9 keeps changing his hiding place while changing his form. But considering the huge energy source needed to produce more than one Kaiju of a special type that falls into the category of numbered Kaiju, it is likely that he is currently in a place at the confluence of the Philippine Sea Plate and the Eurasian Plate, or in other words, it is a place that cannot be entered by humans. Not to mention that because the scope of the area is too large, it may take years to find the exact location. While listening, Igarashi asked, meaning we can only wait until he takes action. Mina also conveyed the information she got from Kaiju number 10, since Kaiju number 9 apparently also has access to the human memories he has absorbed. Then there is a possibility that he has also known the size of the Defense Forces' combat power after he absorbed Isao. Of course, this is a very serious problem for the Defense Forces if Kaiju number 9 already knows their combat power. Fortunately, Hoshina still has another strategy to overcome that, which is to use the soldiers who are currently not the main fighting force and are not included in the estimation of Kaiju number 9. So, by improving the ability of young soldiers who have hidden potential that can be pulled out in a short time. Of course, it will be the key to the battle this time. Besides that, because until now there has been no proper use for the strongest weapon that has been sleeping, namely the weapon made from Kaiju number 6. Then, according to Mina, it is another important thing that they must immediately prepare in order to win this battle. Hearing that, suddenly everyone looked serious because Kaiju weapon number 6 is the strongest and most dangerous weapon that has never been used by anyone. But if they can use the power of Kaiju number 6, who is the previous Kaiju king, to face the current Kaiju king, Maybe this could be a new hope for them. Then Igarashi asked if the 3rd Division had found a user for the weapon. Hoshina immediately displayed the data of one of its members while saying, "We found him after doing a synchronization test of the new soldier's samples with Kaiju number 6. He doesn't come from a Kaiju exterminator family, and his score during the Defense Force entrance exam was also mediocre." At first glance, other units would definitely not consider him an asset, and his name is Leno Ichikawa, one of the young soldiers whose abilities are rapidly improving.